Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode, Open Stride podcast episode. Before we go any further, I need you to like, follow, share, subscribe, wherever you listening on. Like, follow, share, subscribe, let a friend know, let a family member know, let somebody know. And especially if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. So we're going to jump right into this episode. And this is another episode of the NFL preview for the upcoming season. This conference we're doing today is going to be the AFC East. Tom Brady's old stomping ground. We got a new sheriff in town. His name is Josh Allen, and we'll get on into that and then the whole predictions, what we think for the AFC East. I actually got a couple of surprise teams coming out the AFC East, and we'll get on into that. Before we do that, I got to introduce my guest today that's going to help me talk about the AFC East and break it down. My man, Ethan. Ethan came on with us before, man. We talked NFL before, a little Aaron Rodgers and a couple more things, and he's back again for another NFL edition, and I'm glad to have him, man. Ethan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I really appreciate coming back on and ready to get at it, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, I appreciate you coming back on, man. You know, you were very knowledgeable last time you came, so I'm expecting you to spread the gospel again and let these people know what's going on this upcoming season, all right?
I got you, man. I got you.
All right, so y'all, this is how we're going to do it. Just like the previous episodes, we're going to break it down from division and each team from bottom to top. And the team, I think, is going to do the worst in the AFC East. I think it should come at no surprise, but they have some interesting pieces going on. It's going to be the New York Jets. So I got the Jets actually having a horrible season, finishing the season at 3-14. 3-14, and I actually have them having one of the worst records in the NFL overall. I believe I had them with the worst record in the NFL overall. So that's why I have them right now. Big moves they made this offseason. Of course, the biggest move was them picking up Zach Wilson as quarterback. They moved off Sam Darnold. They brought in Zach. Zach was kind of the it kid, the wonder boy going into the draft. Not many people knew about him going into the college football season, but towards the end of it, he became like the it kid, especially after the season ended. Like his training camp videos and pro days videos were going viral every other day. His throws that he was making, everybody was just talking about he was the second best quarterback in the whole NFL, going into the NFL, this whole college draft class. So he ended up going second overall to the New York Jets right after Trevor Lawrence. Then right after him, of course, everybody knows Trey Lance went. So a lot of people were surprised, though, that he kind of leapfrogged Justin Fields in the draft. A lot of people thought Justin Fields was guaranteed the number 2 quarterback in the draft. Zach Wilson did enough to win a lot of people over, and he leapfrogged everybody and went second overall to the New York Jets. So that's the biggest acquisition they made. But some of the other moves they made throughout the season is they got a new head coach, Coach Robert. He's coming in. He's going to be a first-year head coach. He was the former defensive coordinator for the 49ers this past season. And the 49ers, they usually keep a good defense. They have some transcending talent, mainly Nick Bosa on their defensive side. And they had he's not transcending anymore, but he was at one point at Richard Sherman. But yeah, they pick up him, and they brought in a new wide receiver, Corey Davis. He's supposed to be their number 1 now. He had a breakout season for the Tennessee Titans last year. So they're going to see how he does. That's their number 1, their true number 1 option now that he's going to the AFC East. And that's mainly it. I know Quentin Williams is a D tackle. He was on the trade block last year. He actually had a pretty good season last year, in my opinion, but he was on a trade block. Usually when you have a player that's good like that, that's on a trade block, they want to move him just so they can get more pieces for them while he's still good. So I don't think they were trying to move him because he wasn't any good anymore. I think it was just they seen him as a good piece, and they wanted to move him to get more pieces for him so they can start a rebuild. So we're going to see how they go with him, and they kind of still go into contract negotiation with Marcus May, their strong safety. He stepped in after Jamal Adams got traded to be that strong safety for him. I mean, actually, he became after a pretty good player, so hopefully they get that under wraps with him. But before I go into any more about this organization, about this team, Ethan, I just wanted to say, what do you think about the New York Jets?
I'm kind of on the same boat. I'm pretty sure me and everyone else who watches football doesn't expect this team to win a lot of games. I got them going 3-14. At most, I can see them getting 5 wins on the year simply because that new head coach, that 49ers defense brought them to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. and Robert Saleh is a great defensive mind, and the defensive pieces aren't bad at all. But that defense is going to be the reason they win those 3 games, and the offense is in question if whether they get through other couple wins. But yeah, they're definitely at the bottom of this division. But defensive wise, they brought in Sheldon Rankins, former tackle for the New Orleans Saints, to be that kind of run stuffer up front. I think that was a great addition for them, and a great addition because they had Solomon Thomas in San Francisco, so Robert Saleh's got that same piece here in New York. Marcus May, and I think he's completely overlooked in the league because he plays for the Jets and nobody watches the Jets, and the Jets suck. Marcus May has top 10 safety potential. I said that going through last year, and I agree with it coming into this year. He has potential to be a top 10 safety in this league. He's got great zone coverage. He can get up there, stop the run when it's needed to be. Just a great all-around safety. Obviously, and then, of course, like you said, Quentin Williams, but, 3 people don't make a defense, obviously. Another piece they brought in, Tevin Coleman, former Falcons running back. He may not play for them last year, but they signed him. And for the past couple of years, they've really been looking for that true number 1 running back. They brought in Le'Veon a couple of years ago, and he was not anywhere near expectations of what people thought he was going to be. But, yeah, just Tevin's got the chance to be that number 1 running back out there, maybe get a 1,000, 1,200-yard season. And as far as Zach Wilson goes, yeah, I definitely think it was a mistake to take him at number 2. I would have took Trey Lance, Justin Fields, probably Mac Jones over him. And a big part of that is his size. I think he's like 5'9" or 5'10". And I know the stigma around short quarterbacks was broken by Kyler Murray, but Zach Wilson has nowhere the near running ability that Kyler Murray has, and maybe, which it's not proven in the NFL, but maybe the same type of arm talent. But I just don't think Zach Wilson was the guy to take at number 2. I think you either should have traded back, maybe got another first rounder, and taken another defensive piece because you're bringing in a defensive head coach. But yeah, I think Zach Wilson's was a mistake, them taking them there. It's going to go the same way down as Sam Darnold. Except for me, I think Sam Darnold's talented. I think he's going to have success on the Panthers, but I don't think Zach Wilson – I don't think he was top 10 worthy in my eyes. At best, maybe 5-13, whatever it is, 5-12, because it's a 17-game season now. And there's a chance this team doesn't win any games, honestly.
Oh, you think they can go winless for the whole season?
There's a chance, man. You put Zach Wilson behind center the entire season with a defensive-minded head coach, yeah.
I can definitely. Yeah, I think they're going to be the worst team. I think they're going to show signs of improvement. I think they're going to do better as far as defensively. Coach Robert, we'll see how he does the first-year head coach. So it's a lot up in the air for them right now. But we're going to see how Zach does going into the season, and if he can be that number 1 option as far as a franchise quarterback for them that Sam Darnold couldn't. And like you were saying, they didn't really put a lot around Sam Darnold. They brought in Le'Veon. That didn't work out. I think having Adam Gase as your head coach is not really helpful for your career either. So we definitely going to see how hopefully Sam does good where he goes in Carolina, and we're going to see how Zach does under his new head coach with this new system. So we're not going to dwell on them. We're not going to beat up on the Jets anymore longer for all my Jets fans out there. And one thing I wanted to say before I go on, like every other team, I'm going to talk about how Pro Football Focus has them ranked overall. Pro Football Focus has the Jets ranked 30th as far as roster-wise. So they have the 30th ranked roster going into the season based on Pro Football Focus stats of last year. And their schedule is the 19th toughest schedule going into the season. So they have a really bad roster, and they have like a middle-of-the-pack schedule. So we're going to see how that goes and goes for them. And they open up against Carolina on the road. So Sam Darnold get to play his former team first game of the season at home. So we're going to see what Sam does against them. If they go out there and beat Sam up, or if Sam put up numbers on them and show them that he's better than what they thought he was. So we definitely going to see how that goes for week 1 going back Sam Darnold playing his former team back at home, where he is currently resigning at Carolina. So we'll move on to the second team that I have finishing third, and I actually have this team making the playoffs. So it's going to be the Pats, New England Patriots. Man, I got them finishing third in the conference, but I got them making the playoffs with a 10-7 record. So I feel like they made a lot of moves this offseason. Of course, everybody knows. I mean, the biggest chip on Coach Belichick's shoulders that Tom Brady just won a Super Bowl. That's probably the monkey in the room for everybody that's in the New England organization in those buildings is that Tom Brady left and won a Super Bowl within 1 year. Not even a year. Just went there and won one that next season. So, but we could just talk about the biggest move they made. And just to talk about it again before we go on, Pro Football Focus has the New England Patriots ranked the 18th overall roster coming into the season. And I think they tied for Jets for the 19th toughest schedule going the season. So they have a way better roster, of course, 18th from 30th, and they have the same schedule wise as far as toughness and schedule. They finished 7-9 last year. They had they played musical chairs with the quarterback position. So we wasn't really sure on who was going to be the quarterback day in and day out because before they got Cam, everybody thought Steele was the guy. Then Cam came in and Cam started. Then Cam went down and Steele came in. In some games, Cam got benched because he was playing so bad after he came back from COVID. And there was a couple games last year that the Patriots lost by possession. And a lot of games are one per possession, so you can say that about anybody. But some games they played against some teams that they really lost by they could have easily won those games. So just talk about the big moves they made. Of course, they drafted Mac Jones as quarterback in the first round. That was their first overall pick for the New England Patriots. Was Mac Jones, came from Alabama. So we're gonna see how he does. Just to talk about the moves they made. They bought Cam back. They spent $159 million this offseason, most ever for Bill Belichick, most overall for any team this offseason so far. Period. He spent the most overall. But last year they had the most players opt out because of COVID as well. They had Deontay Hightower and other players that opted out last year for COVID reasons because they didn't want to play, of course, because they didn't want to risk their families or they just didn't want to risk themselves. But coming back into the season, they have a top 5 offensive line. They're still trying to get Stephon Gilmore's contract situation under control, but I feel like he's going to be back. Coach Belichick is on a revenge tour to prove everybody wrong about him. And they bought in a lot of weapons for Cam to throw to. Or Mac Jones, whoever may get the start. But I think Cam's going to start it out, and Mac Jones may ease his way in there into next season. But they bought a lot of receiving options in. They bought Nelson Aguilar. They bought in Hunter Henry, Smith from Tennessee, the tight end. They bought in Jacoby Myers. He's coming back. He had a lot of good chemistry with Cam last season. Jacoby Myers. So they have no true number one. Of course, it's no true number one. It's no really. I mean, some people may say they only have a true number 2. Nelson Aguilar did have a good season with the Las Vegas Raiders last season, but he did have a horrible season before that with the Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going to see how he does going into this season with the Patriots, and we're going to see what happens with Bill Belichick and the rest of the roster. But before I delve into any more about that team, I just wanted you to say what you think about the Patriots coming into the season, Ethan.
Yeah, like you said, Bill's on a revenge tour. I've always been a Belichick fan. You know, man of few words, but he comes out there and he does his job and he does it amazing. The best coach of all time. And, you know, like you said, the most money spent this offseason, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, and I don't know if you remember or not. Now, this was with Tom Brady behind center, but they ran the 2 tight end set with Gronk and Martellus Bennett amazingly. I think it was the year they beat it was the year before they lost to the Eagles. I don't remember who they beat that year. But they ran that 2 tight end set to a T, and it was just working perfectly for them. Also, another huge piece that I think they brought in on defense, Matthew Judon from the Ravens. That dude is a beast in the front 7. You can use him on the edge. You can throw him a D tackle. You can dropping back into coverage. He's an all-around great player. I think that was a massive pickup. Matthew Judon is one of the most underrated players in the league, in my opinion. Jalen Mills, he had his days back in Philadelphia back when they made the Super Bowl. He was that lockdown corner for them. And he's, I always say, in my opinion, if a player does amazing, like, is always a standout player and they kind of fall off, they always have that potential to come back up to where they were. That doesn't mean they will, but they always have that potential because they once played at that level. They once played at that level, and they have the knowledge and skills to play at that level. Another player they brought back, Kyle Van Noy. Van Noy left for a year, went to Miami, was the captain of that Miami defense, and then the Patriots just signed him right back. So, and Van Noy's a seasoned Patriot, seasoned Bill Belichick product, and just a great, smart pass coverage linebacker. One thing that does concern me for them is they traded away Marcus Cannon, their right tackle, one of the better right tackles in the league, and Joe Thuney left in free agency. So that's two key pieces of that offensive line that they lost, which kind of scares me a little bit. But draft, I do not, and it's just because I've seen what's happened before, I do not like Mac Jones. Simply because, tell me the top 5 or the last 5 pocket passer quarterbacks drafted out of Alabama, and tell me how well they succeeded in the NFL. Now, Tua, he's different. What was you saying?
No, I'm saying I agree with you. Like, it's not a lot of them. It's not a lot of them.
But I just don't think Mac Jones is, he's got that, kind of big boy, doesn't run a lot build, kind of like Tom Brady. So I guess, Bill Belichick can turn anybody into anything. So I wouldn't count him out right now. A second-round pick that they also picked up, Christian Barmore, D-tackle. I think he came out of Alabama as well. He fell all the way to them in the second round. I had him being a first-round pick. They got him in the second round. That was a huge pickup to bring up to their front 7. But as far as their record-wise, I feel bad for them because looking at the schedule on paper, this is a very tough schedule. So you get past the first 5 weeks. They maybe win 3 games, maybe feeling kind of good. All right, they got the Cowboys, Chargers, Browns, Titans, Bills, Colts, Bills again. Got to face the Dolphins twice. That's 9 losses right there that I don't see them taking. I have them going 7-10. I don't have them making the playoffs simply because this is what I see happen. They get through the first 5 or 6 games. Cam isn't performing as well as he could be. They're ready to throw in Mac Jones. Mac Jones gets thrown in at that meat of the schedule where it's going to be they're playing against very, very tough defenses, and he's just going to crumble. And I see them at their worst going 5-12, at their best 10-7, but I see them going 7-10 all year. And I feel bad for them. They made this great run in the offseason, had an incredible offseason, but they have a tough schedule. And so I don't see them as much as I love Bill. I don't see them making the playoffs this year.
I got them going 10-7 mainly because I look at their schedule. So they opened up against Miami. I think they can beat Miami first game because one reason for that is because when you give Bill Belichick time to prepare, he usually beats the team. Like you give him like a week, like coming off a bye week. Bill has a amazing record, or going into the playoffs coming off a bye, or sometimes or his Super Bowl record mainly. And of course, we can't leave out the biggest fact that he had Tom Brady for majority, if not all, those games. So the greatest quarterback of all time. So yes, but Bill Belichick is a gamer. He's a planner. So I feel like he can beat Miami coming in week 1. I feel like he can beat the Jets. I'm not a believer in the Saints right now, especially with Mike T going down without Drew Brees for the first year. It's gonna be tough. And then he has his revenge game against Tom. That's gonna be a tough game, but I feel like he can win that game. I feel like he's gonna focus all his energy to make sure he wins that game. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 games right now. They're going to Houston. I don't see Houston being that good of a team without Deshaun, so I feel like they can win that game. Dallas, that'll be their first L, but I feel like they can open the season honestly as 5-0. In my opinion, I feel like the Patriots can open the season 5-0. Then once they open the season 5-0, then they gonna start losing a couple games. Like you said, they got Dallas, they got the Chargers, they got Cleveland, they got to go to Atlanta, and they got Tennessee. They got to go to Buffalo, of course. They split games with Buffalo. They got to go to Indianapolis. So those are going to be a lot of tough games. But I feel like the first half of the season is going to be really good for the Patriots. Most of their toughest opponents are on the other half of the season. So like from week 1 to week 8, 9, I feel like they may only lose 2 games. Honestly, I feel like they may going into their bye. They got a late bye. Their bye is not to the week 14. So that's good for them to get rest, but it's like a long road to get there. So coming off the going into midway point of the season, though, I feel like they can go into the midway point of the season with only 2 losses, and I can't really see no team on the other side of the schedule that can really give them a run. The only thing that I worry about is Cam's shoulder last season. Like every season, this Cam's shoulder, because he's dealing with this injury, because he's dealing with that injury, because it's something. This past season was COVID, and then what's his show like? Can Cam? Because I feel like this is it for Cam. You know, honestly, I feel like if it doesn't work this season, honestly, I feel like this may be his last run as a starting quarterback in the NFL, and I don't think a team is going to want to bring him in as a backup. Somebody may prove me wrong because we had plenty of other quarterbacks that were good at one point. They turned into backups and kind of brought their career back. Kurt Warner to be one, my favorite quarterback all the time. So I just feel like this is it for Cam if he doesn't get it right this season with the Patriots. And I feel like his NFL career is on the line. I mean, he made plenty of money. He does a lot off the field, so he makes money. So the money's not an issue for him, obviously, because he's signing these small contracts with the Patriots. But I feel like they can go 10-7, make the playoffs. They have a good roster. They have a good O-line. And they had a lot of players opt out last year from COVID that's returning. And they spent a lot of money. And so my biggest thing is if they go into this season, right, and they finish how you say they're going to finish, Robert Kraft may start looking at Bill Belichick in a different light. It might come down to the point where not saying he's going to fire him, but he may want to bring in somebody to play that GM role. Because if he went into this season, spent all that money this offseason, came into the season, had all your players come back from COVID, and you still had a worse record than you had the year prior, before spending all that money, before having those players opt out, before getting your quarterback in the draft, that's going to be a bad look towards Belichick. And I respect Belichick just like the next man, and I think he's the GOAT as far as coaching. It's not the number 1, top 3 for sure at the least. So at minimum, that's going to be tough to see Bill Belichick have a losing season again after spending all that money and having all his players come back to come into the season and have a worse record than he did the prior year. It's not going to look good for Belichick, especially after Tom Brady won a championship, and especially after you kicked him out of town. Like, you wanted him gone. You tried to get rid of him when Jimmy G was there, and Robert Kraft put a pin in it. Then you got your wish, and he went his way. And it's already looking. I ain't gonna say it looked bad for Belichick, but it definitely looks. It doesn't look good that Tom Brady won the championship his first year. So if he come back next year as the favorite, Tom Brady is. I'm talking about come back next year as the favorite and go back there and win it again. 2 years, and the 2 years that he's been gone away from you. You missed the playoffs both years and had a sub 500 record. That would not look good for Bill. Belichick may start looking into retirement if that happens.
Like you said, if anybody can do it, it's Bill. I will never, ever, ever count out Bill Belichick in anything, just because that is one of the greatest football minds of all time.
Yeah. One of the greatest, honestly. Honestly, when he was with the Giants, of course, I wasn't watching football yet. I don't think I was alive, but when he was with the Giants, just doing my history about it. He had some good years. He went to Cleveland, wasn't the best, but once he got picked up by the Patriots and got Tom Brady, got Robert Kraft behind him, it's been history ever since. But yeah, I got them finishing 10-7. So Ethan has them not making the playoffs. You said 7-10, right?
7-10. Yeah.
All right, great. So we're kind of reversed. So it's going to go to
Yeah.
my third team. This is going to be my. I know I said the Patriots were my surprise team, but this is not my surprise team because I actually picked them to make the playoffs last year, and they came a game short. I was so upset. I was like, man, I was so sure they were going to make the playoffs. I picked the Miami Heat to make. Not the Miami Heat. Basketball is on my mind. NBA is over. Miami Dolphins to make the playoffs last season, and they came up a game short about making it. And they actually finished with they won 10 games though. So they, like I said, they had a good season. So you can't be mad at the season ahead. And that's my next team, which is my Miami Dolphins, y'all. That's gonna be my third team. Like I was saying, last season they finished the year 10-6. They had Brian Flores. He came in and revamped the whole system. And the year before last season, you can tell that they was going in the right direction with Coach Brian. That he was bringing them to the right direction, and it kind of came into fruition the season after that when they get 10-6. So this season, I'm picking them to make the playoffs. I got them finishing second in the division, going 11-6 overall. The biggest question for them is Tua the man. It's Tua the guy that y'all think Tua is. So is he gonna be that guy to step in and turn into a franchise quarterback? Before he went down in college, people were picking him to be the number one quarterback overall, even over Joe Burrow. Some people were still saying that if Tua didn't get hurt, he probably would have went number one overall over Joe. But he went down. Joe emerged as the Heisman winner, national championship, probably one of the greatest college quarterback seasons of all time, and he ended up being that guy. And Tua still went high in the draft, and he went in the first round, top 10 pick, top 5 pick. So he still went high in the draft. So ain't like he just fell off the map. So it's just the fact that is he that guy? Like a lot of people were saying the Miami should have took a quarterback this past draft. Instead, they took Jalen Waddle. And honestly, I was surprised at the Jalen Waddle pick because I thought they were going to take D. Smith out of Alabama. Both Alabama wide receivers. That just shows you how deep their roster is every year. But instead, they took Jalen Waddle over D. Smith and the Heisman winner D. Smith. And I was kind of shocked at that. Honestly, I was shocked at that. But we're gonna see how he does. They bought him. I mean, he has talent there in the option at the wide receiver option. The biggest thing with Tua is going to be the O line. The O line is very young. They're gonna need time to mush, come together, and protect him. He's an undersized quarterback. He does run. He does. He's mobile. He's a dual threat. But it's just, you know what I'm saying? You just never know what you'll get out of Tua right now because people were saying that they should move on from him. He couldn't stay healthy. He was coming back after getting hurt in college, and now that was his first full year last year. And some people last year were saying they should have stuck with Ryan Fitzpatrick for the whole season, but instead they went back to Tua. So it's gonna be tough. They have a good cornerback core though. Xavier Howard, some people thought he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. I wasn't one of those people, but a lot of people thought he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. He had an amazing year at cornerback, and some people see him as a better cornerback than Jalen Ramsey. It's either Jalen or Xavier and Ramsey. It's like Howard and Ramsey are back to back right now. I take Jalen right now. Howard had to show me at least another year at that level before I pick him over Jalen, but he had an amazing year. And they still got Byron Jones on the other side, so they got them two coming at you. Like I said, they got a young O line, and my biggest takeaway is Tua going to be the guy for them? And I was kind of surprised that they took Jalen over D. Smith in the draft. But what you think about the Miami Dolphins overall?
Like you said, the biggest question coming into this year is Tua the guy? I think he is. You know, I don't even think he's had a healthy season yet, and people need to give him that chance. You know, he's got the legs to run around in the game that's changing today, and the dual threat quarterback is the way the game is going. He's got the arm talent. You know, he's got the IQ. He's a lefty, which I think just automatically throws defenses off, just because I think he's the only lefty quarterback in the league. But I think Tua is a guy. You know, I think he'll go out there and he'll win double-digit games, and he'll bring the Dolphins to the playoffs this year. And It's just he has to have the healthy season. And like you said, the biggest question, that young O-line, too. If he can keep Tua healthy. You know, if they can't do that, Tua can't live up to his full potential. That hurts Tua more than it does anybody else because he doesn't get that chance to show what he is healthy. But I think their biggest bring in for the season, off season, was Will Fuller, or the biggest notable one. They signed this man to a 5-year deal, big time money. I don't know exactly how much it was, at least 130, 140 million. Will Fuller, had success. Absolutely loved Fuller coming out the draft. Had success in Houston with Deshaun being his quarterback. Towards ACL his sophomore year, I believe. So he's coming off that. That always holds people back from being their greatest potential. And I thought they were going to stick to him about being that number one wide receiver. But then they took Waddle in the draft. And I did not think they were going to take Waddle. Like you said, I thought they were going to take D. Smith. I think D. Smith is the better of those two. And but Waddle's, man, in today's game, speed kills, bro. Tyreek kills. He's a Tyreek Hill-esque player. He went out there. He's just going to run past all your safeties, all your corners. He's going to throw a bomb, touchdown. Now, that size will come into question. Can he get in there and make those tight catches? He doesn't have the greatest hands in the world. But I would have taken D. Smith in that spot. But you really couldn't have gone wrong with either one. They're still both. They were both supposed to be top 10 picks, and they both went in the top 10. And just, but Waddle's he's a boom or bust guy. He's going to go out there and he's going to burn everybody. He's going to be the next Tyreek Hill, or we just got another guy that's got a couple big plays every week, and you just throw him in there with the rest of the receiving core. Another couple names they brought in was Jason McCourty and Malcolm Brown. That was Malcolm Brown, the defensive tackle, not the corner. I started to misspeak. But they brought Malcolm Brown in to beef up that front seven. And then Jason McCourty, played for Bill Belichick for all those years. The brother to Devin McCourty, great veteran player that they could bring in to already a great cornerback core in Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. And as a Cowboy fan, it hurt a lot to watch Byron Jones leave and take a 6-year deal to Miami a couple years ago. But what you were saying about Howard, I actually have him as the third best corner. I got Ramsey, Jair Alexander, and then Xavier Howard. Now, Alexander for the Packers doesn't have all the interception numbers that Howard will, and he's not that big time player because simply teams don't throw to him. Teams will not throw to him. This is just, I don't have any numbers in front of me because this is just something I thought of. But he's an extremely underrated corner just because, he doesn't get those interception numbers, so he doesn't pop up in the interception leaders at the end of the year that draws that all the casual fans go and look at. Teams won't throw to him. He doesn't allow catches. He doesn't allow people to get open. But, again, Xavier Howard still ain't nothing wrong with having the third best corner in the league. If you throw a ball to him, he's going to catch it. He's going to take it the other way. But as far as season prediction-wise, I got them going 10-7. I got them making the wild card. At their worst, maybe 8-9. They could drop a couple games in there just because, that O-line's arguably the most important part of the game. And if your O-line's not meshing, that can destroy a team. And so, but I think I got them going 10-7. They can go out there and make the playoffs. I think it's time for Tua to go out there, win those games. That defense, step up, carry the team. And, yeah, I got them making the playoffs. I got them making the wild card, going 10-7 on the season.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, we both got them in the playoff. I just got them one game higher than you. Both got them at the same spot, though, as far as second in the AFC East. One thing, though, you gave Will Fuller too much money. He signed 1 year, $10 million.
He did?
Yeah. Will Fuller, he signed 1 year, $10 million with the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, only reason I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. Only reason I know honestly is though because he played for the Texans. That's my team. So
Yeah.
yeah, he played for the Texans. I remember when they was talking about trading him one season. Deshaun he got upset. He was like, "Yeah, y'all trade him. I'm leaving." He want to leave anyway. But yeah, that was like that's the only reason I keep up with him. And he had an injury last season, so he's coming off that, and he's going into this season now as he's not the number one option. He's going to be like a deep threat option. I mean, the number one option. They still got the Devontae Parker, who had a okay season last year. He had quarterback play was all over the place, so he finished with last season, 63 receptions, 793 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The year prior to that was his best season in his career. He had 72 receptions, 1,202 yards, and 9 touchdowns. So that was his best year. He's going into this year, and we're going to see how he does. He's still young. Him and Wilford are both around the same age, like 27. They can both be like veteran mentors for Waddle coming in as their speedster. And also, Will was a speedster for us. When he played for us, that's kind of what he was. That outside threat, get deep. So we're gonna see how he does. But they got it. They got Will, Devontae, and they got Jalen. So we're gonna see how they does with them. And the tight end Mike, of course, he had a good season. We're gonna see. Hopefully, he has a better season this year with them, and has a breakout season. Finishes like a top 10, top. Hopefully, breaks that top 5. He actually had a really good season overall. That tight end. What as far as tight end wise, because he was kind of underrated. Not a lot of people talked about him. He was only in his third season last year. He finished the year with 53 receptions, 703 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So that was his best year. We're gonna see how he does this year. And like he's young too. He's only 25, so he's a young man too. So we're gonna see how they do. They have a lot of options as far as receiver. I don't think they have like a true number one. I don't see Devontae as a true number one. He could be a good option though. When I think of true number one, I'm talking about play wide receivers like top 10, top 15. I know ESPN just released their top 10 wide receivers this past week or so, recently, and people don't really think of Devontae as that. So that's why I say I don't see him as a true number one. But he can be that good option with the other options they got. They can definitely open it up for them to have a good season. The main thing is, can Tua stay healthy? Can he be that guy for them? And can that O line protect him long enough for him to get the ball off? That's gonna be the biggest thing for them. But we're gonna move on to the last team. So it's no surprise here about who we both have number one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big Buffalo Bills fan. I'm not gonna hold my bias against them. I still got them finishing 12. I got them finishing 12-5. So they're gonna have a good season, of course. And they're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win the division. I don't have them finishing first overall in the conference though. Of course, I reserve that right for the. I'm not gonna say who yet, but it's gonna either be the Browns or the Chiefs going to finish number one overall. So I don't have them finish number one overall, but I definitely have them having an amazing season coming into this year, making the playoffs, having that first game at home, of course, and we're going to see how it goes from there. So the biggest question mark for them is going to be their running back position. They don't really have a true number on a true running back that's going to put up numbers for them overall. Their running back position is their weakest position on their offensive side. They have a good offensive line. They have a true number one in Stephon Diggs. He probably had the best receiving stat wise, statistical year overall out of everybody last year. Stephon Diggs, he had an amazing year, and they still got some other pieces around him. So they bought in Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders played pretty well at the number two position. Obviously, Mike Thomas in New Orleans last year, so he's going to Buffalo to be that for them. They still got Cole Beasley. So I'm going to see how that goes. Their biggest threat to them, their biggest opponent, their biggest op to them is the Chiefs. I mean, we can talk. We can't. It's no two ways to split it. They got their eyes on the Chiefs. I mean, they don't want to take their eyes off their opponents they're playing, but every game when they finish a game, when they get into the locker, they probably looking to see what the Chiefs did. But that's still going to be their biggest threat. They brought in a defensive end, Gregory. We're gonna see how he does with that first pick overall, and he opted out his last year in college because of COVID. But the year prior to that, he had an amazing year. He had 15 and a half tackles and 14 TFL. So that's about almost 30 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. So he had an amazing year. And they actually got another DN in the second round. It's going to be Carlos Jr. So we're going to see how they do. So yeah, their biggest threat, of course, after every game is going to be the Chiefs. They're going to look and see what the Chiefs did, but they have to focus on what they need at the end of the day. And I know I said offensively their biggest question mark is running back, but defensively their biggest question mark is going to be cornerback. So they got BELICHICK, Davis White, top 3, top 5. Not sure where everybody has him, but he's especially a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. But who's there to help him? That's going to be the biggest question. Who's going to be there to help him? That's when they're going to need. They brought in more offensive help on the receivers, but they didn't really bring in much to help Trey. So we're going to see how that goes for them. I got them going 12-5, just one game back from what they did last season. They finished last season at 13-3. So I got them going 12-5. We're going to see how it goes. Ethan, what you think about the Bills overall?
12-5 is the understatement of the year, good sir. I got them going 14-3. I got them being the second best team in the AFC. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time we did this, we talked about where Julio might land, and Buffalo had brought up. And you had said you weren't exactly sold on Josh Allen coming in his young years.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna hold that bias against you when you say that. But I think 12-5 is the absolute worst they do this year. I think Josh Allen just gets better. I think he solidifies himself as the second best quarterback this year. Cole Beasley had a 1,000-yard season last year. Of course, left the Cowboys, went to them, went off. Our luck. But Cole Beasley is maybe one of the best secondary options in the league. And like you said about the running back position was their biggest question mark. I saw them taking a running back in the draft. They didn't. But what they did do is bring in Matt Breida. And as someone who had Devin Singletary on their fantasy team last year, I can definitely tell you he is not the option. But I do think the Breida and Singletary can do just enough to carry the load to share it and just give them, 120 yards per game combined on the ground, just enough to respect the run game and leave Josh Allen that space to go out and absolutely sling the ball down the field. You had mentioned Gregory Rousseau, their draft pick. That was my steal of the first round. Him and Justin Fields. But Rousseau falling to 28 or 29, wherever they drafted, was insane. He was projected like top 15 pick a month before the draft. And I'm not exactly sure what fell off. I think it was his year that he held out for COVID because he didn't play this year. But Rousseau was an absolute beast for Miami. And I think he's going to be the old Jerry Hughes of that defense. I think Jerry Hughes is still playing for them. But Jerry Hughes used to be an insane defensive end for them back before, Josh Allen and all them came in. I think he has that potential to be a top 15 edge rusher in the league. Like you said, they re-signed Micah Hyde. Micah Hyde's one of the most versatile safeties in the league. I'm really sold on Micah Hyde. I love Micah Hyde. Tre'Davious White, I got him as the number 4 corner. Again, another guy that doesn't get thrown to a lot, doesn't get those interception numbers because he's just going to lock you down. But yeah, at the worst, I got them going 12-5. At their best, absolute best, like 15-2 and getting the 1 seed. But yeah, I got them going 14-3. Going out and getting the 2 seed in the AFC, fighting it out with the Chiefs, and I think this is going to be the highest scoring AFC Championship game ever with these 2 insane offenses. But yeah, I think the Bills are going to be tough team to beat this year. Okay,
so call me on my Bills bias. I said at the beginning, like I'm not the biggest Buffalo Bills fan. I'm not sure what they ever did to me. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm not the biggest one. I actually picked them to not make the playoffs last
Oh my
season, which
God.
was a ridiculous. Yeah, it was a ridiculous take. I was swinging for the fences with one of my hot takes, and I was way off with it. But now I'm a believer in them. Like I said, even though I have my own bias to get them, I'm a believer in them. I got them finishing first in their division. In the conference, I got them finishing top three. I'm not sure if they're better. I'm not sure if they're better than the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if they're better than the Chiefs. So I got them finishing top three for sure. Russo, like you said, was a steal. I said it too. He was a steal of the draft for them. They get him so late after having such an amazing season before he opted out. He opted out there last year in Miami. And the year prior to that, before he opted out when he was in Miami, like I said, he had 15 and a half sacks, 14 TFLs. The guy was amazing. So he easily could have went in the top 10. I'm not him opting out hurt his draft stock made no fall, but them picking up is going to be amazing for them because they already got Ed Oliver over there at D tackle, so that's going to be good for them. And they have Tremont Edmond at middle linebacker. It's time to pay him. He's part of that 2018 draft class that's deep as hell. So it's time to pay him. So they're gonna have to pay him some money. Tremont Edmond. He came in very young. So now he's going to like his third, fourth season. They of course they keep their old reliable player Levi Wallace still at cornerback, still playing for them. Been there for years. Hasn't got a long time deal yet, but they still keep him there every year. So he's going to be that cornerback for them. But I don't really see nobody else really helping Tre'Davious on that secondary. That's really just going to make me feel like they're going to be that guy. They got Mekhi Hyde. We're going to see how he does at free safety. Like I said, nobody really just is blowing me away outside of Tre'Davious. So that the players down in the trenches is going to be their best. Their middle linebackers, like I said, Edmond, it's going to be amazing for them. We'll see how Ed Oliver does. We're going to see what Gregory does when he comes in. We're just going to see what that defense does. The offense is pretty set. Like it's not really much you can say about the offense that's going to make you feel like they're not going to be top 5 in the NFL as far as offensively. Like I said, the only thing that makes me nervous is their running back. They bringing back Zach Singletary. We're gonna see how he does. Last season he didn't have an amazing year. He only went for 687 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he on the ground. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't really see much out of him. Like you said, they brought in some more. So we're gonna see how that goes with them. They bring in Stephon Diggs. One thing about Stephon Diggs that I did like is that after they lost the championship, the AFC Championship, he stood on the field and watched the Chiefs celebrate. It's kind of like stuck, like he wanted that burned image in his mind about where he want to be next season. So we're gonna see that give him motivation to come out next season. He had, like I said, he had statistically one of the best years as far as wide receiver. He went for 1,500 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he went crazy. He had 127 receptions. So he did his thing. You can't knock him what he did. And that's his third year in a row where he had over 1,000 yards. Of course, before he got over there, he was playing for the Vikings. He had 1,000 yards when he was with them. He's yet to crack that 10 mark as far as touchdowns. So that's why I don't really. That's not the sole reason why I don't have him as a top. Is my top receiver. My top and favorite receiver is DeAndre Hopkins. And after that, I just got everybody else, like Julio and the rest of everybody. But Diggs is definitely up there. Still going to see how he does. But, yeah, man, we both kind of got that in the AFC East going the exact same way. The biggest thing, though, is that I have 3 teams out of there making the playoffs. You only have 2. You don't have the Patriots making that. You actually have the Patriots finishing below 500, which is I'm kind of surprised. I thought you were I thought you liked Cam and like Belichick, man. I was kind of surprised at that.
I did like Cam. So my first year watching football was 2015. Cam's Superman year. He's the reason I started watching football. And I was a Panthers bandwagon that year before I realized, I'm from Dallas. I need to be a Cowboys fan. And, I love Cam. I always will love Cam. But, some people's time ends early, That shoulder is the most important part of a quarterback. And he gets injured and injured again and injured again. You just think, it's maybe time to hang him up. And he'll go out there and he'll win games for him. I just don't think he'll win enough to keep the starting spot by the end of the year just because they took a first-round draft pick quarterback in Mac Jones. And but, like I said earlier, too, if anybody can do it, it's Bill Belichick. Never count that old man out.
I agree 100%, man. You can never count old Bill out, man. Greatest coach in the NFL right now, dog. Top 3 all time, easily. Some people got him top 1. I won't argue. But yeah, man, amazing episode. Real talk. AFC East is going to be an interesting division this whole season. Like I said, it's a lot of wild cards that's in there. Like the Bills is kind of like, yeah, we know they're gonna do their thing, but then you got the Miami and you got the Patriots. So you just never know. So it's gonna be an interesting season. Overall, I got the Bills, Pats, and Miami making the playoffs. I know you only have the Bills and Miami, so it should be an interesting season, man. Some big headlines coming into this year, and we're gonna see how it goes and plays out. Because the AFC East is a very interesting division, and it was the conference, the division, the NFL. We be honest, that Tom owned, but that was his old stomping grounds, and now it's a new sheriff in town. So who's going to be that team to step up and take the reins for the next 10 years? This is going to be the Bills and Josh Allen that take that over and run the AFC East. Or is Bill Reigns not over yet? Is he still going to come back and do his thing? It's Miami with Brian Flores and Tua going to step up and take the reins and run it. Or it's just going to be a rotating door every year. Every year it's going to be somebody different. You just never know. Only thing we do know is that the Patriots don't have a chokehold on it like Lil Wayne did in the early 2000s and 10s, like Lil Wayne. Like we just know that Bill don't got that chokehold on the AFC East anymore. So we're gonna definitely see. But that's gonna be it for us, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you like, follow, share, listen. Appreciate everybody that has been listening. Everybody that reach out, man. I honestly appreciate it all, dog. If it's just one person or 10 people or 100, I appreciate it. So, and everybody listen. It's all love. It's all love. It's all love. Real talk. Ethan, you got anything to say before we close out?
I just appreciate it, man. Everybody's listening. Like, share, follow. Tell your nephew. Tell your brother. Tell your buds. I know everybody. I know you and your boys debate football, debate basketball. So go up there. You drive. You got a long drive to work. Play this thing. You got a road trip with the boys. Play this. Open Stride Podcast. I'm telling you, bro. Share, follow, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, whatever, man.
Thank you, Ethan, for that. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate y'all heard it. Y'all heard what he said, man. Follow his rules, man. Come on. Let's get it. So that's gonna be it for us. Catch y'all on the next episode of my Bubble Try NFL preview for the upcoming season, the 2021-2022 season. So stay tuned for the next couple episodes. We still got more divisions and conferences to talk about, players, all kinds of stuff. Stay tuned, man. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.